This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. Tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. It's your boy, UncleFOOlio, and I'm here with my main man, Tony Crowe of Knicks and Bruises. Welcome to a joint episode of the controversial Knicks and Bruises, ladies and gentlemen. As always, these episodes are sponsored by Nothing But Knicks. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the notification bell to be notified of any new content that we have for you. Pre-game, post-game, shoot-around videos, breakdowns of trades, and any other content that we have for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a pretty phenomenal season for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Also, support Knicks and Bruises, ladies and gentlemen. Knicks and Bruises. Make sure you like and subscribe to my man Tony as he puts out new content during the regular season and playoffs as well. Tony, what's going on with you, my man?
UncleFOOlio, what's going on, man? I'm glad we got this thing put it together. Looking forward to this episode. Shout out to the Podfather Sim. This is what MBK fam does, man. We link, we unite, and we form like Voltron.
Always form like Voltron, and we've been talking about this for a minute, bro. I know we've been debating about this a little here and there on some of the shows, and this is something that we've been talking about for a while, and we finally are going to get it done today. We are going to debate / discuss the Kemba versus Kyrie topic, ladies and gentlemen, for a New York point guard supremacy. Who will be the supreme leader of the point guard position in New York City? Obviously, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, and we're gonna discuss it, ladies and gentlemen. So, definitely look forward to doing this, Tone, and I can't wait. Before we get into that, though, I wanna talk about something. First and foremost, pinned to the top of the YouTube chat, ladies and gentlemen, the NBK, you should see a link up there. That is the link to a form that you need to fill out if you want to battle and debate your boy, okay? If you don't like what I have to say, if you think that I am full of it, UncleFOOlio is full of it, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I want to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to hear from you. In the comments and in the chat, there's been a lot of people saying UncleFOOlio doesn't know what he's talking about, but this is your opportunity to play me and debate me one-on-one, okay? So definitely that link in the pin to the top of the chat, definitely check that out. And also, before we get started, I want to highlight some of the comments from the last show. People have had a lot to say about my little debate with Hadouken and Sharon, so I wanted to highlight some of these people and have a conversation with you, if you will. First and foremost, Antoine Jenkins, thank you for the comment. It says, Josh, aka UncleFOOlio, oh my man, you keep saying media don't got an agenda against us. Look where they predicted us on ESPN. 7th seed. Stop. Open your eyes. The Knicks are hated. Bro, are you serious right now? Are you serious? We're really concerned about where ESPN has us seated right now. Be real. Be real. Why are we concerned about the seedings, ladies and gentlemen? We're so obsessed with this mediocrity. Year after year, this mediocrity, where the Knicks are going to fall. Oh, if the Knicks don't win 50 games, ESPN's hating on us. They hate us. So you're telling me right now, if the Knicks don't win 50 games next season, that it's a failure? Why don't you say that? You might as well say that. No one wants to say that it's going to be a failure if the Knicks don't win 50 games, right? So if you want to have those expectations for 50 games, call it a failure if the Knicks don't get there. But I thank you for the comment, Antoine. And if you want to battle me, like I said, there's the link in the top of the YouTube chat. So definitely, hit that form and let me know what you're thinking. Next comment I want to talk about is my man David Jones, someone else who disagrees with me. He says, I disagree with Josh. I think we were extremely lucky to draft RJ at the 3rd pick. If we were able to trade RJ at this early of a flourishing process, it would show a disloyalty around the league and any future players that might consider coming to New York. And yes, Josh, you're an RJ hater, and it's disgusting. I'm an RJ hater. I predicted RJ Barrett to be an all-star next year, yet I'm an RJ hater. I mean, I just feel like it's played out. I mean, listen, I said what I said about RJ Barrett. It's gotten to the point where you can't say anything about the guy. You can't say anything. You can't break down his game without someone calling you a hater. It's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, I just don't understand it, ladies and gentlemen. But, David, I appreciate the comment. I got 2 more comments I want to read, ladies and gentlemen. This comment is from 562920. I don't know what it is with you guys always talking about RJ Barrett. He's talking about Knicks fans overall. He's an average player at best, and I hope he develops to be an all-star, but I don't see it, especially with this team. Don't get overhyped with a player because he got drafted to the Knicks and he has to be a superstar. He just doesn't got it as of right now. He just doesn't have that it factor. It's not sure that it's there yet. And listen, I mean, I'm not gonna go out and completely agree with that comment overall, but I do think it's fair to point out some of the weaknesses. And I think Knicks fans are hungry, and they're hoping for that next guy that we draft that we can turn into the next Patrick Ewing. And I think that's a part of it as well. So I think that was a great comment by 562920, and hopefully RJ Barrett does turn out to be an all-star, and I'm rooting for that. And the last comment that I want to talk about is from my man Lax Paint. He says he's not a Knicks fan, but I'm a fan of the show. From the outside, it seems like RJ Barrett is an average player right now, kind of like Harrison Barnes. But he's showing improvement, but at the same time, is it the same kind of improvement as other players from his draft? And as far as becoming an all-star, list the 18 best players in the Eastern Conference. Is he on it? If you can't see it working soon, a trade will be best and sooner than later. And again, you have to think about these type of possibilities. If RJ Barrett doesn't turn out to be the player that we all want him to be, it might come a time where we may need to make that move. And I guarantee you, Leon Rose is thinking about the same things, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we need to start thinking about the same things as well. Be positive, but at the same time, be realistic and not naive. Tony, what you think about those?
What was the name of the guy on the last comment?
His name was Lax Paint. Lax Paint said he's not a Knicks fan. All
right. I'll be honest, man. I was gonna say that was from your burner account. That one. It sounded like it was coming right from you. But I mean, I always appreciate the comments. I agree. You're not a RJ hater. You have high aspirations for him. And I can't say that, but sometimes with that high aspiration comes high disappointment from you. I agree with the guy who said he's not an all-star yet, but I'm also one of those guys that say let the guy grow into who he's gonna become. Like, let's not rush it. You know what I mean? The guy's phenomenal for who he is. I think the numbers are there for where he was picked. I think I've seen the growth. And if he was just the main guy on this team, if we didn't have the Randalls and things of that nature, I think he would have more opportunity and probably have better numbers that would support all-star numbers. But right now he's in a true team situation. And for what he's doing within the team structure, I think it's phenomenal.
I mean, look, I totally agree with you. I think, if you look at it that way, obviously everything is going to be all sunshine and rainbows and Knicks start winning games. But if it does go the other way, we really have to start questioning that. And RJ Barrett is due for a contract in the next couple of seasons. So I'm pretty sure Leon Rose, Scott Perry, the front office, they're looking at, if RJ Barrett's going to be the guy. And I've always said this. If RJ Barrett turns out to be an all-star and gets that level of in the conversation for all-stardom, the Knicks are on a different level because now you have 2 guys, him and Julius Randle, that you can build around. You can successfully build around. But if RJ Barrett just turns out to be this middle-of-the-pack kind of player, a good supporting cast kind of guy, and there's a trade available for that guy, that all-star, that potential all-star, then he's not untradeable to me. Simple and plain as that. I'm not saying he won't be. I'm not saying I don't see that potential in him, because it's definitely there. And I'm not actively looking to trade him. But at the same time, I am keeping my eyes and everything open for the possibility that, that could happen. Teams do this all the time. In order to get better, they get rid of some of their young core. And the last show, I mentioned Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, which was a really good parallel to RJ Barrett. People talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but what about Kyle Kuzma? Kyle Kuzma, his first 2 seasons in the NBA, was balling. Some very similar numbers as RJ Barrett. The Lakers got LeBron James, and his numbers took a dip. And then now they had to trade him to get better this season, right? He was one of the baby Lakers that they kept around. So that is a possibility for us guys. I'm just saying, pick up the phone. Don't think the Knicks are better than what they really are. Sometimes we do that a lot. And it's definitely cost us. So, Tone, you got anything to say about that? About what I said right there?
I actually loved that comparison when you made it. At the time with Kyle Kuzma, kind of because it caught me by surprise. I never really thought of that perspective. And I think you were somewhat spot on with it. But what I will say to that, similar to what I said previous, Kuzma had a time frame, more of a time frame, where he was considered more of the guy or the future. You know what I mean? So you look at like where he started, and then when he had to adjust to playing with LeBron, and the dip that he had compared to like RJ, pretty much kind of starting off with Randall, and still having very similar numbers to Kuzma without LeBron. So I think that runs in RJ's favor. You know what I mean? So I would actually put RJ as, a slightly better than him, even though the first 2-year numbers were a little bit lower. If that makes sense to you.
I got you. And by the way, everyone out there, like I know, people may look at Kyle Kuzma as like a little bit of a disappointment. I still think Kyle Kuzma is a really good player. He's going to be a really good player for DC. He's gonna make some noise happen, and that can be the same for RJ Barrett. Even if he takes that same trajectory and goes along that same path, I still think RJ Barrett is a really good player. But he's just not untradeable to me. So, guys, I want to thank you for all those comments. Please continue to leave your comments in the comment section below. I see you guys are putting stuff in the chat, which I definitely appreciate it. I'm watching, and it's okay to disagree, guys. Shout out to Queen Steph on the Queen's Court. She always says it all the time. It's okay to disagree. As long as we can be disagreeable without being disagreeable. Okay. So, definitely appreciate the comments and keep them coming. And we're going to continue to put out some content for you guys and let us know what you think. Okay.
So,
yep. Go ahead.
I do want to highlight Shane Murphy. The title of this is a joke. Kemba's nowhere near Kyrie. And the reason I'm highlighting that because, prior to us, confirming doing this show, I had made some Kyrie Kemba comparisons on the MVK show, and Josh, you was right there in the comments with that same exact response, initially, which kind of sparked the idea for us doing this. So salute to Shane. Put your seatbelt on. I think you're gonna enjoy this ride.
Yeah, and definitely, I definitely said the same thing. I said, there's no way. And I still kind of feel that way a little bit. But now looking at the numbers are very, very close, ladies and gentlemen. These guys got drafted in, I think, the same year, 2012. So they've been playing in the NBA for the same amount of time. But if you look at the averages, the totals, a lot of the numbers are very, very similar. So I had to really backtrack and then go back and do some digging. And that's how we were able to come up with this show. So we're going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. First thing we're going to talk about is some of the regular season totals, right? The regular season numbers, the stats, the points per game, and all of that. So here we go. This first thing we're going to pull up here is just the regular season numbers, right? So obviously, total points up on the top left, you got Kyrie Irving scoring a total amount of points of 13,293. Kemba Walker leads in that category, 13,983. Okay, so Kemba Walker has scored more total points in the regular season than Kyrie Irving. Total rebounds, again, very, very close. Kemba Walker has the advantage by around 500 or so. 2704 to 2212. Total assists, very, very close. Kemba Walker leads in the assist category, 3788 to Kyrie Irving's 3337. Total steals, Kemba Walker leads in the steals category, 895 to 775. Total blocks, Kemba Walker leads in the block category, 273 to 224. and total games played. This was the big one for me, Tone. This one right here, the total amount of games played, 704 to Kyrie Irving's 582. As we get into the percentages, the tables have turned a little bit, right? Kyrie Irving is a career 47% shooter from the field. Kemba Walker is 41.9% from the field. 3-point percentage, Kyrie Irving, 39.1%. Kemba Walker, 36 even. Free throw percentage, Kyrie Irving, 88.1%. Kemba Walker, 84% even. Okay, and then as you continue to go down this graph, you see what these two's best seasons were. Obviously, both of these guys were all-stars at one point. They definitely can be in an all-star conversation when healthy and when they play. So if you look at their best seasons, you can look and see how close it is there. So, Tone, I just want to get your first thoughts on what you think about those numbers. All regular season numbers, by the way. All regular season numbers.
Just like you, the first thing that stood out to me, or the biggest thing to me, was the games played. About 120 games more for Kemba Walker. So that was one of the first things that I wanted to defend Kemba on, because for the early portion of his career, minus these last 2 years, he was considered one of those Iron Men, one of those guys that didn't miss games. And even with his injury prone or injury history as of late, he still is played more games than Kyrie over the course of these 10 years, by over a season's worth of games, about a season and a half's worth of games. So that was the first thing that stood out to me in my defense of Kemba was, why is everyone calling him injury prone? Now, granted, he's recovering from an injury, but that's different than injury prone. You know what I mean? Like, the injury has been really the last 2 years. So that was the biggest standout for me. And then obviously how close the numbers were. You know what I mean? Obviously you got to take into account of those missed games by Kyrie. And then when you compare the total numbers with the averages, I think you kind of see how close they really are. You know what I mean? Because the averages, it don't matter how many games you played. It's about the average within the games you played.
Got you. And I just want to highlight some of these comments. Andrew Kalujale, excuse me if I got your name wrong, but this is what he says. He says, Kyrie has some amazing skills, no doubt, but he's a franchise killer. I completely disagree, and I'm going to come back to that later on in the show. All right. And you got K. Jones. Thank you for the chat here. He says, Kyrie Irving is clearly the better basketball player. We're going to talk about that. May 4th, thank you again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. He says, this is not a stats thing. Kyrie is just the better player, which I totally agree with. And let me get one more. Let's see. Let's go to my man, Jay Boogie. He says, Boston had the better team with Kemba than with Kyrie. So, I mean, listen, I think the numbers are close. If Kyrie Irving plays those 120 games, I think he wins the totals battle, no question, easily, without question. But I does think it says something about Kyrie Irving's, missing some games during the regular season. But here's what I would say about the whole thing with the injuries with Kemba Walker, and this is what concerns me. Yes, Kyrie Irving has had some games where he's missed due to injury, right? He's had some injury concerns, but with Kemba, the injury problems are more chronic, right? Kyrie Irving's injury problems are more acute. He'll miss some games for I guess a banged up ankle here and there or things of that nature. None of his injuries are chronic problems. With Kemba Walker, those knees, and when everyone who's ever played sports before, a lot of the OGs in the chat that's played sports before, they'll tell you once those knees go, there's a lot that you won't be able to do. And that, for me, is the concern that I have with Kemba Walker. They gave him a shot in his leg last season. He's missed a lot of games last season with that knee, with his knee problems. They say that because the way he shoots jump shots, how his legs kind of go inward, that contributes to his knee problems. And that's something he's been doing his whole entire life at basketball, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that, for me, is the issue with Kemba Walker. Obviously, I want him to be healthy. I want him to be our starting point guard, because Lord knows we need it. We need a starting point guard, ladies and gentlemen. For God's sakes, it's been so long. But I think you have to really be concerned about the issues with Kemba Walker. Absolutely. With Kyrie Irving, I think it's a little bit more of, him doing the what do you call it? Where they sit out games just to because they're tired or whatever the case may be. That's a new thing in the NBA. That happens all around the league. This happened with LeBron James, obviously Kawhi Leonard. These players, they do that load management stuff. Okay, and I know Knicks fans don't want to hear that, but guess what? Those players have championships. They have championships for a reason, and it's a reason why teams employ that strategy. Any other comments you have on that, Tom?
I don't know if I should respond directly to what you just said, but I got to, man. I got to. LeBron James is the reason, and I'm gonna stand on that, and I'm gonna die on that hill. We're probably gonna get into this conversation more in depth after the stats, but I'm gonna leave that there and let that marinate until we get into the meat and potatoes of the debate.
Oh boy, I already know where this is going. And I completely disagree. But let's get into the second slide that I have here, ladies and gentlemen. These are going to be your playoff numbers. These are your playoff numbers, okay? So obviously in the playoffs, this is the Kyrie Irving show in the playoffs, okay? Total points around 1639 for Kyrie Irving. For Kemba Walker, only 609. Total rebounds, Kyrie Irving leads in that category by more than double. Total assists, Kyrie Irving leads by more than double. Total steals, Kyrie Irving leads by triple. Total blocks, Kyrie Irving has the advantage there. Total games played, Kyrie Irving has double the amount of playoff games as Kemba Walker. Field goal percentages, Kyrie Irving is ahead, 45.5% to Kemba Walker's 41.2%. Field goal percentage, Kyrie Irving is, that's the same numbers. 3-point percentage, Kyrie Irving, 39.3% to Kemba Walker's 32.4%. Free throw percentage, 88 to 86%. And as you can tell, if you keep going down the list, you'll see the best playoff performances by both. And these are averages, right? The best playoffs, yearly playoff numbers. Kyrie Irving, his best, playoffs was in 2017 as far as scoring, and Kemba Walker was 2016. So as we look at these numbers, Tone, I want to know what your initial thoughts are about these playoff numbers where the games are turned up and more things have to happen. I want to know what you think about that.
They're still relatively close in my eyes. Obviously, Kyrie has the advantage in all statistical categories, largely because he had more than double of the games as well. So I would expect a lot of those stats to reflect, more than double. So I'm not gonna hold that against Kemba. He didn't get as far in the playoffs. Obviously, he didn't have as much success in the playoffs. He also did not have the same type of team as Kyrie in the playoffs. So, everything Kemba did with those stats was relatively on his own as the guy with not much help. So that's why I say it's still relatively close in my eyes, because I'm looking at not just the numbers that are on the screen, but the content behind it, who he played with, what he had to do. Again, more arguments for later on in this discussion.
Well, no, I want to address what you said. Because you spoke about context, right? So let's talk about context. Typically, if you have more games than the other person, your average is supposed to go down, right? Particularly if you look at their regular season numbers, them being almost mirror images of one another, they both can pretty much do well on the basketball floor as far as the statistics are concerned. They're pretty much neck and neck in the regular season. I think we can both agree on that.
Well, if you're talking about averages, maybe, but not total.
Well,
I'm looking at total.
Well, I'm going to get there. If you have, let's say I play more basketball games than you, we're pretty much similar players, right? We both can score 30 a night, but I play more games than you. Law of averages says that my numbers are supposed to go down because I've played more games than you. My averages are supposed to go down. The more games you have, your average is supposed to go down. Kyrie Irving not only leads Kemba Walker in playoff numbers as far as totals, but he also leads in averages. So that says that Kyrie Irving has had more great scoring performances, great performances where he gets a lot of assists than Kemba Walker in the playoffs.
He's had more opportunity to as well. So you can't just say more opportunity is going to go down. More opportunity could make it go up. It can go either way. Like it's not just one way. You could have more opportunity and produce in that opportunity. You can have less opportunity and you don't have a chance to produce more. You only have a chance to produce when you're in that position. So I think it can go either way. That argument.
Yeah, but let's talk about the way that actually went, right? Kyrie Irving was put in those situations, and he was able to produce greatly in those situations. So you can't take that away from him. You can't take that.
I'm not. But my argument was just about because you played more games, your numbers should go down. That's not a fact.
Typically, that's what it is, though.
That's not true. Think of a player who progresses each year. He's playing more games. The longer he plays, the longer his career is. So if his trajectory is going up each year, that's the difference of what you're saying. You know what I mean? Julius Randle, the longer he's played in the NBA, his numbers go up each year.
But that's individual years, Tone. I'm talking about collectively, altogether, career averages. That's what those numbers were. They weren't year by year, progression. That was a collective as entire career. It's two different things.
No, it's the same exact argument. Julius Randle's career numbers go up each year. Why? Because his numbers each year go up. Right?
I guess if you look at it that way, but for me, Kyrie Irving has played more playoff games and his averages are better. Okay, typically you don't see it that way. You don't, if you play more games, typically with someone that is, of your equal caliber, the numbers are going to go down just naturally. That's just what happens if you play more games, because there's going to be some games where you don't score as much. That's just a reality of the situation.
I'm not going to argue that point, but maybe we do another one and we do the research and we show that, because I think I could probably do some research and find an argument that fits my point, and I'm sure you could do the same that fits yours. So we're gonna have to figure out some way to do the research and come back and see if what you're saying is true or not. Because I can't argue that Kyrie's played more games. His numbers are overall better, even with the averages. I can't argue that. But I do have an argument.
well, you do, and again, I think though, when we look at career averages and career numbers, it's assumed that person is scoring that amount of points every year. We don't look at the progression angle. You can't look at a progression angle when you look at career numbers. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just going based on what I see, and those numbers tell me that Kyrie is an overall better player performer. He's played in more games, despite not playing as many regular season games. He's played in more playoff games where the games are more important. We know that the games are more important, and he showed up in those games. So you can't take anything away from Kyrie Irving.
Let me ask you this: does the fact that Kemba relatively did what he did on his own, can we take that into effect? That he didn't have the same help that Kyrie had, because to me that's again another, whether it's unfair, fair. But it's just the reality of the situation. Kemba was not surrounded by nearly the team. Like, you know what I mean? When Kyrie was in a situation where Kemba was in, with no team around him, he had to do it by himself. He didn't make the playoffs. He just sniffed the playoffs. So Kemba, on the other hand, carried the team to the playoffs. So that's part of my argument of, again, and it's not about better, because I won't win that argument, but just as good or almost as good, or could have done the same thing in the position that Kyrie was in, I can argue that 100%.
So here's where I think your argument is a little bit flawed, right? Here's where your argument is flawed. So now we're going to argue that players, you're going to take something away from players because they play with other great players. I don't think that's a particular fair way to look at it. And let's not act like Kemba Walker didn't play with Al Jefferson, who was an all-star at the time when he was playing in some of those years in Charlotte. How about him? How about some of, Cleveland is a terrible organization. Everyone knows that. They're one of the worst organizations in basketball. Okay, so you can't blame Kyrie Irving for the team not properly building around him. He's the reason why the Cavs were even relevant before LeBron, those years when LeBron weren't there. So you can't take that away from him. I don't see anybody taking anything away from Michael Jordan because he played with Scottie Pippen. Are we going to take? Are we going to take away? Hold on, Tom, hold on. Are we going to take away the importance of Anthony Davis because he played with LeBron James? Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in the world.
Actually, some people, not me, do make that argument about Jordan without Scottie Pippen, and it's a valid argument because if you take Pippen away, Jordan's success didn't come yet. You understand? So it is a valid argument, and I'm not taking anything away from Kyrie. I'm simply saying if you swap the two, you put Kyrie in Charlotte and you put Kemba in Cleveland, I think the same championship gets won.
I disagree with that 100%.
Or at least in position the same amount of years to be in the championship. Still happens. That's my argument. He could have won. He could have had the ring.
But he doesn't have the ring.
But he didn't play with LeBron. Is my argument.
So that's not Kyrie's fault.
No, it is not. And
so
is it Kemba's fault that he didn't play with the team, a good enough team surrounded by him to only win, 31 games in the playoffs?
No,
playing 31 games?
It's not but we're talking about hypothetical, Tone. This is all hypothetical. I'm telling you what happened. I'm not telling you about, what could have happened or what all. I'm telling you what happened. Kyrie Irving put up 40-something points in the Game 7 of an NBA Finals. LeBron James ain't have nothing to do with that. Kyrie did that. His individual numbers, and that shot that he made, he did that. That was an isolation over Steph Curry.
Was LeBron out that game?
LeBron played. He scored 40-something points too.
So he's a part of that. He has something to do with that. Okay.
When Michael Jordan put up 63 against Boston, you telling me the rest of the Bulls had something to do with that?
Did he inbound the ball and pass it to himself?
If you want to listen, if you want to have the argument, if you want to have the argument about championships being a team thing, I'm all for that. I think championships are a team thing. I don't really feed into this whole narrative of it takes one player is going to lead win a championship by himself. That never happens in the history of sports. You need to have a solid team around you, right? But you do got to have players who lead your team to a championship. Kyrie Irving was one of those players on Cleveland. It wasn't just LeBron James. It was not just LeBron James. I'm not taking it away from him. But it does go hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. It does go hand in hand. And if you want to look at history and where did Kyrie go? How far did he take his team without the help? That's my argument. What do you mean without the help?
Prior to him getting help, how far did he go?
You talking about when he was a rookie and a second-year player in the NBA in a terrible organization, a putrid organization?
Yes.
When he was the rookie of the year?
He was in the same year as Kemba with very similar numbers. But whose team had more success?
Well, Charlotte Charlotte had more success. But again, it's about being a collective. Your team has to be good around you. You can't just blame everything on one player. You can't. That just baffles me how people do that and take away great things from great players because they play with other talent. You can't use that to take away someone's greatness.
Can we look at Boston as an example and look at who had more success on the court with those two players since they both played on Boston? Is that fair?
Let's look at Boston.
Because from a chemistry point of view, I think it's by far Kemba.
Really?
By far. I think so. So
you think Kemba Walker gives his team more chemistry than Kyrie Irving?
I think he gave Boston more chemistry.
Okay, you think he gave Boston more chemistry?
Absolutely, 100%. And I would argue at this point, I would prefer Kemba on the Knicks than Kyrie.
Oh, Tony, you did it. You went there, huh? That is absolutely terrible. But before we continue, let's get to this last slide. I'm going to talk about this last slide because I think this slide is really, really important. Based on what you said you would prefer Kemba Walker over Kyrie Irving right now. That's true, right? You said that.
On the Knicks.
On the Knicks right now. Okay, let's talk about this last slide, ladies and gentlemen. So these are the rest of the playoff numbers. These are the per game numbers, okay? Kyrie Irving, 23.4 points per game. Kemba Walker, 19.6. Rebounds per game, Kemba Walker, 3.8. Kyrie Irving, 3.6. That's pretty much the same. Assists per game, dead even at 4.8. Steals per game, Kyrie Irving has a slight advantage, 1.4 to 1.1. Blocks per game, pretty much dead even, 0.6 to 0.5. Okay, and then on the left, you already know what the left is talking about. You know, we already know how many All-NBA teams, how many championships, how many playoffs they played in, how many All-Star games they played in. We already know about those numbers right there, and we already know who's on top of those numbers. But I want to go back to what you said about chemistry, because there's this terrible narrative from Knicks fans that Kyrie Irving is a chemistry killer. If that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, how come there are so many former All-Stars that want to play with Brooklyn right now?
Well, part of that is who's his teammate.
Oh, okay. So now you want
part of that is what. Listen,
okay.
I was on board 100% at saying if we had to take Kyrie to get KD, then by all means, I'll do it. But if it was a choice if we didn't have to go that route, then I wouldn't. I wouldn't have. Or if we could have got KD and brought in somebody else, even Kemba Walker, because we have to dig in the archives, but I'm pretty sure I said that at the time. I wasn't a fan, and it's not of his game. I just wasn't a fan of his attitude and the way he meshes with others.
But hold on, Tone. Let's go back. Let's go back to what you said, right? Because think about. Let me make this make sense for me, right? You got a bunch of former All-Stars, former alphas that were alphas on their team, right? And there's this narrative that Kyrie Irving is such a cancer in the locker room. He's so terrible. Yet all those guys are willing to leave their situations and go play with this guy to win a championship. He's that much of a career killer, that much of a team killer.
Well, don't put words in my mouth. Granted, people do say that, but those words, I never said cancer. I never said team killer. I'm only comparing the two players at this point. Now, is Kyrie ever going to be up for like a sportsmanship of the year award? Or rather yet, if we're just comparing the two, who's more likely to win that?
We don't know that. We don't know what these players are doing, you know, in the communities and the sports. We don't know that. That's
not sportsmanship. I believe sportsmanship is within the confines of the game and teammates. But
Tone,
you can't. So you can't. You can't answer that question.
No, because we don't know. We don't know. We legitimately don't know. We're feeding into these narratives that Kemba Walker is such a sweetheart on the court. Everyone loves him. My God, Kemba Walker is so great. He's so great. He's the greatest thing. You know, like.
See, now you're putting words in my mouth that I'm not going to argue, because that is how I feel.
But that's so like that. Like we legitimately don't know. Like Kyrie Irving is hated in the media because he doesn't want to talk to the media, and all of a sudden he's this bad team chemistry guy. How does that make sense? And then you have players that legitimately want to come to Brooklyn because he's there.
Is that why he's considered a bad chemistry guy, because he doesn't want to talk to the media?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. We don't know.
How about disappear? How about disappearing from your team and them not knowing that you're not going to be available? How about that being something that could affect the team? How about being a distraction for non-basketball reasons?
How about him needing a mental health break? How about him being tired of the media following him all around? How about him needing a mental health break from everything that's going on? What about that?
How about you say it? I have no problem with that.
Why does he need to say it?
I think that's commendable. Why? Because then now you're showing not only your teammates but the rest of the league that it's okay to have mental issues that you need to take care of. But to not say nothing at all,
how do you
know
he didn't? How do you know he didn't tell his teammates?
Because the teammates were on record saying, I don't know what's going on.
Because it's not their business to tell the media what's going on with Kyrie. The media is supposed to ask Kyrie. Like if I was your teammate, right, and you had whatever you had going on, right, you wouldn't want, I wouldn't want to express your business to the media without them talking to you. I'd be like, talk to you. When Dennis Rodman, hold on, let me, I got you because I got you right now. I got you in the corner. Let me get you. When Dennis Rodman took his little break, to go do whatever he wanted to do, Michael Jordan was like, don't talk to me, talk to him, talk to Scotty, don't talk to me. So how do we know this? We make up these narratives in our head about what these players are doing. We absolutely have no idea. You got a guy right now that's an all-star player, right? One of the best point guards in the NBA, believe it or not. He's a champion. He's knocked down big shots time after time again. And you got all-stars, former all-stars that want to go play with that guy. How is he so bad at this team chemistry? I don't get it.
So there's no way to respond better. If you know something's going on, there's no way to respond better than I don't know where he is. I don't know. I didn't know he wasn't showing up. Because that feeds the narrative. That feeds the media to take things into their own perspective. Because if they know what's going on, I'm not saying tell the truth. Oh, he's having mental health issues. He needed to step away from the game. That would be wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a way to answer that question to the media, or there's a way to answer that question if you're the coach that is not feeding the media and giving them the chance to maybe take on their own agenda. See, you're very slick in what you say and the way you word things. Let me just say something about me, because I try to be very meticulous in what I say and what I mean. So if I word something a certain way, 9 times out of 10, I was trying to word it that way because that's exactly what I mean. I don't want it to be taken this way or that way. But I mean, granted, you're making points that have been argued. Just not, those weren't my arguments. So you got, if you're gonna come back and forth with me, you got to stick with exactly what I'm saying, and don't add the the outside noise, because I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I look at a lot of things a little bit differently.
And it's okay. It's okay for us to disagree, but I'll just say this, right? It's so funny now that we're talking about Kyrie Irving, and obviously he's on Brooklyn, and we don't there are rivals, you know what I'm saying? So obviously we're not gonna well, at least I'm gonna be objective about it, but most Knicks fans they're gonna come down this neck a little bit. But it's funny how when it comes to Kyrie Irving, everyone wants to defend the media, but when the media talks bad about what the Knicks were doing because they were poor for the last 20 years, oh, the media is making up this thing, the media is this, the media is that. But when it comes to Kyrie Irving, this is a right. The media had every right to talk bad because they have to anticipate that there's some terrible stuff going on there. But when the Knicks are bad for 20 years, it's like the media is unfair. They're treating us unfairly. We deserve to be treated better. They don't treat anybody else like that. Blah 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 blah. So it's okay. I like the hypocrisy. I get it.
Let me be on record as saying I don't think Kyrie is treated fairly in the media. I don't think LeBron is treated fairly in the media all the time. I don't think KD is treated fairly in the media, and I definitely don't think the Knicks hate within the media was warranted for all that time. A lot of the times, you could have just as easily not said anything, rather than saying, "Let me spew some hate the Knicks way," because I know it's going to get fans agitated and talking, and it's going to get clicks, and that's what I feel. A lot of that stuff on both sides with KD, with Kyrie, with all the superstars, and with the teams that have this rich history, it's clickbait. I'm smart enough to know why they're doing what they're doing. So a lot of that isn't fair. I'm not defending the media against Kyrie. He does get unfair hate, but some of it he puts upon himself. Some of it can very easily be avoided by just doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Doing the right thing. So basically playing basketball, even though you're going through a mental health struggle and you have to let everyone know about it, that's the right thing to do. I understand. So, but hold on, no, because we're telling you about doing the right thing. He needs to tell the media what's going on. He deserves to tell the media what's going on, right? Instead of taking a break, right, and taking a mental health break to get himself right, right? How can he play basketball, if he's not mentally right? And why does he need to explain anything to anybody?
I never said the media, coaches and teammates.
But we don't know that, Tone. We don't. You're assuming that he didn't do that.
If he did, then it should. That's where it's addressed. He didn't have to make a statement to anyone except his teammates and coaches, the organization. But then it's up to them to relay it the right way. And then because I'm not going to say you kill a man for needing a mental health day or being mentally drained. I'm big on mental health. Like outside of basketball in real life, I'm big on mental health. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing to play with. You can't function as a human, you know what I mean, in regular life things without your mind being right. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should suck it up and play ball either. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it could have been handled way better. To me, part of it seems like they want the click. They want the controversy. See, I plugged you. They want the controversy because they know it gets everybody talking about them, and then they have a reason to snap back. They have a reason to voice their frustration in situations that could have very easily been avoided altogether.
Salute the chat. I want to highlight some of these comments I've been reading, and obviously there's a lot of Knicks fans in the chat, y'all my people and everything like that, but I just disagree with y'all. Kevon Bergen, you my dog. He said, imagine me walking out my job and taking time off without telling them nothing. Again, we don't know what Kyrie Irving told or did not tell his teammates. So why are you putting this narrative out there that Kyrie Irving didn't do any of those things? Come on. And Sergeant Knicks, a.k.a. G-Man Flight, said he should control this narrative. I think he does control this narrative, believe it or not. You just don't like it. You just don't like it. Okay? CK said Tony is lost. We ain't worried about that. Who's Mark? My man. Kyrie can sneeze and the media is going to go crazy. Alton League. Most people just listen to sound bites from Kyrie, not a whole interview. And let's see. Let me get one more. Salute to my man Blue Orange Terrace Freezy. What up? What up? And Kevon Bergen, if you pay attention, Josh, most Knicks fans says the media does us no favors. Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, it's hypocrisy. It's okay for the media to assume and do all this when it comes to Kyrie Irving and his mental health, but it's not okay for the media to accurately report how bad the Knicks were for years. That's not okay. But it's okay. It's okay. Go after Kyrie. Yeah. But for the Knicks, it's like, they don't treat us the right way. We don't win any games. We get blown out at home by 30, and it's all right. Like we've accepted this mediocrity as Knicks fans, and it's okay. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's fine if we have a Kemba Walker with chronic knee problem, but he's gonna, we got Kemba. Yeah. Last year, no one even wanted Kemba Walker. Now that we got him, it's like, I
mean, I ain't gonna lie. The majority of that is based off of the number we got him at. So I won't even front, because even if it was about bringing him in at the full length of what his contract was without the buyout, I probably wouldn't have been for that. But I was for bringing him in when he was a free agent before he signed with Boston, and that was prior to knee injuries or at least them being highlighted. So you know what I mean? So I agree with you on that. With Kemba right now, it's based off the numbers. It's based off the money. 8 million, 9 million, whatever it is.
Which we lucked out, by the way. We completely lucked out because Oklahoma City did not have to buy out Kemba Walker. They did not have to do that. So we lucked out. We were able to get another team involved. Maybe there was some back channel things that were going on. Maybe it was planned the entire time. We got World Wide West. He's known as a little snake, behind the scenes and things of that nature. So, listen, we don't know, right? Only thing we know is we got Kemba Walker, and we better hope. People say that it's a bargain. The price that we got him for, yeah, it's a bargain if you look at it from that way. But is it really a bargain? Because if we don't have Kemba Walker this season, we're back to square one as far as not having a point guard is concerned, a starting point guard. And shout out to my man Sim. Nothing but Knicks. He said, Josh, if his teammates knew, then saying I don't know where he is just makes it worse. Just say he has a personal issue and you have to talk to Kyrie. Well, so are you going to hold that against Michael Jordan for saying go talk to Scotty or go talk to Dennis Rodman? Are you going to hold that against him?
I'm muted. I'm sorry. He's not holding it against them. He's saying that is the right thing to do. Say you got to talk to Kyrie when he comes back, or you know what I mean. He's dealing with a personal issue. It's not my place. Like that's what I'm saying. There's responses, especially as an organization. Granted, we haven't been the greatest organization with PR and things of that matter. You know what I mean. So
you can say that again.
But there's always better ways to handle it. And to me personally, I feel like a lot of it is deliberate. I think they like to be talked about. I think they like to be the villain. I think because if not, why not be more in control of your own narrative? Like whoever it was in the chat that
I
said
think.
that.
But hold on, but we got to separate this because what Sim was talking about was his teammates' response. He was talking about the teammates. That part ain't got nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is controlling his own narrative, but Sim is worried about what the team is saying, what the team is not saying.
So you think they were lying? They knew he told them, and they decided to go out.
What I'm not going to do is assume. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to Knicks fans, we tend to assume. We tend to make up these narratives or these things to fit our narrative, and we just don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's easy for us to poke and do that. But we do that all the time when it comes to everything.
You remember the statement that Kyrie came out with addressing mental health?
No, I don't remember it specifically.
Well, it was about a week or two after all this happened. And what I was going to say was, had he just put that out in his absence, you know what I mean, when he's stepping away. Now, granted, maybe he wasn't in the mind state to write that. And that's very possible. I'm just saying, you know, when it comes to, like, I'll say this, and I said this before Kemba was here. If we had to deal with the things that were going on with Kyrie in New York, had he came here, him and KD came here, right? And we had to deal with him missing the games and just all the things that went on in Brooklyn. If that happened in New York, can you imagine the turmoil that it would have caused? Can you imagine what the fans would have been like, with the media? That, you know what I mean? That's where I say we kind of dodged the bullet.
But
bringing a guy like excuse me, bringing a guy like Kemba in. Granted, this all is based off health, but bringing a guy like Kemba in, who is not that far of a drop off, in my opinion, than Kyrie, but doesn't come with any of the headaches. What you'll actually get is the opposite of the headaches, because all you hear is positives about this man's personality, who he is, always smiling, things of that nature. Like, I think that is what we need in this culture. We don't need any outside controversy. We don't need that extra noise, that extra non-basketball related issues. Granted, we may have some here and there and going forward and still, but we don't need that.
Okay, before I respond to you, I want to highlight this comment. May 4th, salute. He said, you did see Kyrie Harlem shaking with his sister. Keep it a $150, Josh. Okay, so we supposed to stay in the house the whole time? He's supposed to stay home. He's supposed to, what is he supposed to do? May 4th, what do you want Kyrie Irving to do in a mental health crisis?
We're not gonna get into the politics and the protocols and things, but there was protocols in place for that. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, and I'm not even talking about the COVID thing, but I was talking about the mental health thing. But to respond to what you said, right? You asked the question, and you know, would you rather have Kemba, who doesn't give us those outside distractions, or would you rather have a player like Kyrie Irving who brings outside distractions? And well, you said Kyrie and KD. You didn't say that. I'm taking Kyrie and KD any day of the week. You know why? Because Kyrie and KD gets us closer to a championship. The Knicks have not won a championship in 50 years. 50. No, having those two players gets us closer to a championship. And I would rather have those guys than any two players on the Knicks right now. and I wanted them back then, and I wish the Knicks they had them on the team right now. I'll take all the baggage if it meant us getting closer to a championship. Absolutely.
Hey, first of all, you're mixing two of my arguments because I did acknowledge the fact that I would have taken them both if that's what we had to do to get KD.
Would you take him right now? Would you take him right now?
Just a swap? No.
So hold on. Okay,
just a swap of the 2 point guards? No.
That's insane, Tone.
No.
That's absolutely insane.
And I feel like health permitted switching them out, the Nets is still a threat, Eastern Conference threat.
Not if Kemba Walker doesn't play with his knee issues, man. If he doesn't play with his knee issues, it doesn't matter.
I started with help, man. We never know if Kyrie's gonna be healthy or not either. You know what I mean? So
what do you mean?
He missed 140 games more, 130 games more.
Yeah, but again, there's a difference between acute injuries and chronic injuries. Kemba Walker has a potentially chronic injury that can end his career.
Potentially, yes, but it hasn't even reached the level of Kyrie's injuries to this point. So only time will tell.
He got a shot in his kneecap from something that he's been playing with his entire basketball life. That's a big issue. That's not something that you can gloss over. I get it through the history. He's played more games, but I think now Kemba Walker has a chronic knee issue that we need to think about. So again, bringing Kemba Walker in for that money, yes, based on the talent and the amount of money, yes, that's a bargain. It's a steal. But if Kemba Walker is not healthy, we're back to square one as far as not having a starting point guard.
My premise is always on health, so I'm always assuming health is 100%. You know what I mean? Obviously, because that argument goes for any player, any team in the NBA. You got to be healthy. People are arguing that the Bucks won because of other teams' health. People are arguing that. You know what I mean? That's always an argument. So yes, you got to be healthy to win it. So I'm always talking about, all health permitted, all health 100%, and we both agree the numbers are not that far apart.
Right.
And I'm always the guy that said, superstars are born in the playoffs. I'm always the guy that said, situations dictate that. You know what I mean? A guy could be a superstar but never get an opportunity to prove it. He's gonna need that opportunity. And I think we can agree you can't do it by yourself.
Right, you can't.
So, I think if health permits, we might see the best Kemba we ever seen.
I totally agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And I'm hoping and I'm praying. I'm praying to the guys that happens. I'm praying so much that happens because we need that.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the head-to-head matchup. Like that's, we talk about handles, we talk about New York City basketball. You know what I mean? We talk about something that's going to have the entire New York City, in an uproar.
Speaking of head-to-head matchup, I have here a graph of Kemba versus Kyrie head-to-head in their careers. Now, mind you, they've both been in the league for the same amount of time. They both played in the Eastern Conference, all the years in the NBA. So they've played a lot of games against one another. And I think they have played to get together against each other in high school as well, but I don't have that here. This is just a Kyrie versus Kemba head-to-head for their careers. Obviously the summary of victories, Kyrie Irving leads in the regular season and the playoffs over Kemba Walker. And then the averages are pretty much split down the middle if you look at it head-to-head in the regular season. So again, it's still very close. As far as the amount of the averages, the numbers, but Kyrie Irving definitely has the summary of victories because, like you said, because of the team, and that I will concede that argument. Okay, I will concede that argument. Nothing but Knicks. Kyrie played 54 games last season, and Kemba played 43. The season before, Kyrie played 20, and Kemba played 56 in a shortened season. Okay, so what does that mean?
Just some factual knowledge that talks about longevity and games
Yeah,
missed.
but the point that people aren't understanding is, Kemba Walker has a chronic knee issue. For a point guard, that means a lot.
And both of those, both those years are in New Jersey, right? I mean, in Brooklyn, right?
He said New Jersey. Yes.
This will be the third season in Brooklyn, right? So now go back a year prior, and you talking about the games missed on the Celtics for Kyrie. So why is his knees not considered a chronic thing?
Because he doesn't have chronic knee issues. There's a difference between having a needle being put in your leg, you know what I'm saying, and you miss significant time because of that, and the team bringing you along slowly because you have those knee issues. There's a difference between that and taking some time off for some mental health issues or load management or whatever the case may be. That's a huge difference between the two. And guess what? In the playoffs, Kyrie Irving's played more. So when the games really matter, Kyrie is there more than Kemba Walker.
Is it can't you have like a chronic issue and then an actual chronic like disease or whatever? Like, isn't chronic being like how often it occurs? Doesn't that make a
chronic means it's ongoing. It's just something that's constantly going to be there.
So you wouldn't consider Kyrie's knees issues a chronic situation?
No, I don't. Last season, what took him out in the playoffs was a freak injury where he stepped on someone's ankle or he came down wrong on his ankle. That's what happened with that. Because everyone knows, and everyone knows that if Kyrie Irving would have played last year in the playoffs, if that didn't happen, that little freak thing where he came down wrong, the Brooklyn Nets are going to the NBA Finals. Straight like that. They're going to the NBA Finals. Everyone knows that. So, Kyrie is chronic mentally. That's worse. Okay.
I think this is a great debate, man.
Ultimately, they are both dealing with injury concerns, but Kyrie is miles ahead of Kemba. It's true. He is miles ahead of Kemba. There's no question I'm taking Kyrie Irving over Kemba Walker. No question. Who would you rather have? Who would you want the ball to be in their hands more at the end of a game? Kemba Walker or Kyrie Irving? Come on, Tone. Come on, Tone. Don't do this right now.
Wait, Kemba, you know why? Let me tell you why. He's on the Knicks. I'd rather him have the last shot than Kyrie on the other team.
Oh my goodness. I don't think you believe some of the stuff that you be saying sometimes.
What? He's on the Knicks. Why would I want the ball on the opposing team's hand?
I think that's the easier way to look at it. And of course, listen, I think at the end of the day, and we're gonna wind down. We're gonna kind of close this out here. Let me just say this. Listen, both of these guys are former All-Stars, right? And in Kyrie's case, he can make an All-Star team this upcoming season. There's no question that he's that good. If Kemba's healthy, I believe he can do the same as well. Guys, listen, and I know the chat, we're kind of split on this, and I know most people agree with Tony than agreeing with me because, we're all our Knicks fans, and we want to be very, very bullish on our own team. But I just want to say that I love the Knicks just as much as anybody, but I real recognize real, and I just like to be objective about things. You can still be objective and be a fan, all right? So obviously, I want Kemba Walker to have a great season. I want him to be healthy first and foremost because I think that takes us to a next level. That takes us to the next level. And I don't wish bad on Kyrie Irving at all. I don't wish bad on anybody and their mental health issues. And on a serious note, I want everyone to be alive and well. Basketball is always a second thing. What happens at life is always going to be priority and priority number one. So I just want to put that out there. And I'm really looking forward to the Knicks versus Nets this year. I don't think we're going to beat them that often, but I do want us to be in a position where we can be able to compete with those guys. Because a lot of times you hear like, I don't want to pick up this player, I don't want to pick up that player because they're not going to get us past Brooklyn. Well, you pick up that player so you can get closer, so you can put yourself in a position to compete, and that's pretty much what I want to happen. Hopefully, Kemba's that guy. I believe when he's healthy, he can close. Right? I believe he has that ability to close. We've seen him do it in college and certain times in the NBA. Past few years, he's fallen off with that, but I believe he has that ability to do so. And if he does do that for the Knicks, I think we're in a good spot. Right? So Tony, what you think about that?
First off, I want to say this. This has to become a series now. So every time we play the Nets, me and you are gonna have to do a episode just like this within 24 hours. Only talking about that game. I might have to eat crow. But we're gonna highlight this matchup all season long. Because I think the discussion is great, and I think we're gonna have a lot more to discuss as these games play out. Of course, health is gonna be the main concern on both sides. So I just wanted to put that out there. I think this is a great series to continue. I think this is a discussion we could probably talk for another hour or two right now about it, if we wanted to. And then mental health, serious issue. This is in no way, clowning or not respecting the issue of mental health for Kyrie Irving or for anybody, basketball player or non-basketball player for that matter. Take care of your mental health. If you're having issues, talk to somebody, find the help you need. Obviously don't give up. You know what I mean? Very important issue. I definitely got to highlight that as well. But we had some talking points that we had to discuss. Overall, I'm always gonna rock with my Knicks guy. I never said Kemba's better than Kyrie, but I honestly 100% feel he's better for the Knicks than Kyrie. And that was my main argument. You know what I mean? That's what started the whole discussion with the chat on Sim's channel. And that's what birthed this discussion with you. But I enjoyed it, man.
Yes, and it's always a pleasure, Tone. You my guy. I'm always gonna ride with the Knicks guy at the end of the day too. I'm always gonna be rooting for the Knicks. I would never ever root for the Brooklyn Nets ever. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Bed-Stuy. I would never ever root for the Brooklyn Nets. I'm a Knicks fan through and through. I am very objective, as you guys can tell. And I don't like mediocrity. I want us to be winners. I want us to win. That's why I have high expectations for this team. So I'm just calling it like I see it. If Kemba Walker's healthy and he's back to that Charlotte form, look out. The Knicks are gonna be turning up, and I'm gonna be right there every step of the way here, defending the New York Knicks. But we got to get there.
I do got a question though, because when Sim put that up, that was a great point, and I wasn't aware of it statistically. Because I mean, if you do the math in the last 2 years, Kemba actually did play more games than Kyrie. But forget the debate of those two players. If Kyrie was here and if he played 20 games 1 year and I think it was 50 something or 40 something the other year, you wouldn't have these same type of concerns and injury concerns and things of that nature. Because I would think you have to, right? Because if we're looking at granted, you're talking about Kemba and you're talking about his specific injury, but I'm just saying, like, forget Kemba out the equation. Just looking at if Kyrie was here and he missed those amount of games, you got to be concerned, right?
Absolutely, because again, that leaves the Knicks at a void at a point guard spot. So yes, I definitely would be concerned. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned about what Kyrie is or isn't going through. You know what I'm saying? Well, if he was on this team, he's on Brooklyn, so I guess we don't care. But if he was on this team, obviously you have to show some sort of concern for that. But I'm just looking at the bigger picture at the end of the day. I know that if I have a guy like that in the playoffs, he gets me closer to a title. And that's the only way I'm thinking about it because of what he has done. And that's just the way I like Kemba Walker. I think Kemba Walker is a great player when he's healthy, but Kyrie Irving is something special. That handle is nothing to play with. You can't play him with that hand. That's a bad dude. You know what I'm saying? I respect game. You know what I'm saying? In terms of this comment, El Servi said, Josh, switch team seems like it would be easier. No, I'm not doing that. That's not who I am. I'm not I'm not a Nets fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I've been a Knicks fan since I was 7 years old. Okay. Healthy Kemba and KD or healthy Kyrie and KD. Oh, Sim with these hypothetical questions. It's Kyrie and KD 100%. I'm saying 100%. Andrew Cologile said Josh should make a Kyrie Central group. Plenty of them here. Yeah, whatever.
Oh man, you guys are mean, yo.
Pudge nice with the James Dolan clip. Kemba can't play defense. Yeah, Kyrie's not that good of a defensive player either. But remember the game against us. You know what I'm saying? When he took the ball out of Julius Randle's hands, and all the fans were complaining that it was a jump ball. That wasn't a jump ball. That was actually a good defensive play by Kyrie Irving. But
no, it wasn't. It was a jump ball. It shouldn't have been a travel.
Right. But I'm saying that was a great defensive play by Kyrie Irving.
Oh yeah, it was.
No one ever gives him credit for that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I was mad. I was mad you ain't put up the Chargers drawn stat up on the screen.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty good too. Kemba does draw a lot of charges. I definitely give him credit for that. Nah, we're gonna need that this year. But yeah, he gotta stay on the court. May 4th, you post the roof for the Nets if we out the playoffs, Josh. Nah, not happening. Let's see. Tricky Nicky, Tony Crowe's to go to this debate. Tony Crowe's to go in every debate. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna leave it at that. Kevin Bergen, this debate would definitely continue into the season. Absolutely. Salute. May 4th, this is an ill topic. And let me get one more. Let's see. The real point guard of Gotham should be your title. Of course. Absolutely. Tony Crowe, I want to thank you again for coming on with me. We definitely going to have some more of these debates as the season goes on. People call me the biggest Knicks pessimist. That's not true. I just want to win. And I know you as being one of the biggest Knicks optimists out there. So I definitely appreciate you coming on. Any final words you want to say to the chat, to the Knicks Nation?
No, I appreciate you having me. Anybody who did jump in late, if you want to rewind and watch it, it is on my channel as well. If you're not subscribed to Knicks and Bruises, go ahead and subscribe. Make a comment. We're going to be doing a lot of MBK fan mix-up shows and matchup shows. So, look out for that and check that out. Josh, I appreciate you, putting this thing together for me. I think it was a great show. Like I said, I think we should continue this, throughout the season, game after game. Maybe the next day or something, we'll get some stats and break them down and talk about it. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yo, Black is Time. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Sim, UncleFOOlio, Controversial, Knicks and Bruises. We out.
Yeah, and always, Tone, a pleasure once again. I'm going to be doing these debates every week. Try to get a controversial topic out there. Everyone knows my takes are controversial. Most people don't agree with them. And if you don't agree with them, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of that, you're in the chat and you have something to say, I want to debate you live. I want to debate you on one of these platforms because I have a lot to say. You guys obviously know that, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear something new that I probably haven't heard before. According to Sim, he wants you to rip me to shreds, right? So please, pinned in the chat, there's a form. Please fill that out. Submit it. I want to know what kind of topics you want to debate or discuss, and I can get you on here, and we can go on. We can go on for like 45 minutes to an hour or something less than that, time permitting or whatever. And I just want to hear from you guys. All right. So don't say Josh didn't offer you an opportunity to come on. You know what I'm saying? Don't say that I like to dominate an argument because I really like to listen to your point of view. So please, pin to the top of the chat. Go ahead and fill that out. Submit it. Once again, guys, thank you so much. Controversy, Knicks and Bruises. Like and subscribe to my man Tone's channel. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of content coming for you guys, and we look forward to the start of training camp and the season, ladies and gentlemen. So, peace out, and go Knicks, guys. Go Knicks. Take care, y'all.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. Tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.